Hey, I'm Dylan at Western Bike Works. Visit us at westernbikeworks.com or at our store at Northwest 17th and Lovejoy in downtown Portland. You know, down here, Western Bike Works, we're down with the scene. We're hip. We keep our ear to the ground in terms of pop cultural phenomenon, what the kids are into, the twerking, the blong, the hip hop, these kinds of things. And when I heard that the kids are into something called rap, I thought, this is something I know a little bit about. So we're gonna focus today on rap, how to blong out your road bicycle. Bar rap, lots of different ways to do it. It's kind of like brain surgery. Everyone has their own way. Not one of them is the correct way to do it. So I'm just gonna show you one option you have. First thing you gotta do is get some bar tape. Lots of different kinds of bar tape out there. We have the natural cork, synthetic cork, metallic tapes. Lizard skin makes a kind of grippy tape as well. We're gonna get the old tried and true Chinelli cork tape. Some are stretchier than others. We're gonna teach you a way to wrap your bars that does not require the use of that little cheater strip that goes around the back of the control lever clamp. So what that means is you can use that little cheater strip to test the stretchiness of the tape, because ideally you want to give this thing the beans. You want to pull it as hard as you can without tearing it, because that's going to allow the tape to constrict on itself. It's going to keep it in place. It's going to last a lot longer. So we got our Chinelli cork tape, and we're going to prepare the bars for wrapping. First thing you got to do is secure the housing to the bar. Just use some regular electrical tape. Got a piece here, and a piece here, and that just kind of keeps it in place, especially when you grab the brakes. That housing wants to straighten out, and that keeps it from stretching the tape out. Then we want to pull the hood back on the control lever. No, come closer. No, don't be. Come on, it'll be fine. So we're gonna go inside to outside over the top, and we're not going to use the little cheater strip. We're going to make a nice little figure 8 to cover up that unsightly clamp, because the control lever clamp, it's kind of like Victorian times showing some ankle. It's just unseemly, so we want to cover that up. And then when we get to the top, we should be wrapping from the back of the bike to the front of the bike over the top of the bars. So we have our tape. The Chinelli cork tape has an adhesive strip in the middle, and we're going to use this adhesive strip in order to give us a guide for the spacing on our bar wrap. So the first wind, I like to start it with the end on the underside because it's a little bit cleaner. So we need to wrap the tape on itself, and then once we get it wrapped on itself, we can begin to wrap on an angle, or what some people call a bias. So we begin to wrap on the bias, and you'll see that I'm really giving this stuff the beans. I'm putting a lot of tension on the tape that allows it to stay in place. And that adhesive, I'm going to lay it right on the bare bar, so that kind of gives me a guide as to the spacing between the adjacent winds. So we want that spacing to be even.
Keeping good tension on the tape. Peeling away the backing for the adhesive strips as we go along. Make sure we get our spacing correct. As we get to the curved portion of the bar, you're going to have a lot more real estate to cover on the outside, so you want to keep the spacing the same on the outside of the bend, and it's going to naturally get a little closer on the inside, but that's totally fine. As we get up towards that control lever, we're going to start to think about how we're going to cover up that clamp without using that little cheater strip. And why we like to not use the cheater strip, it just eliminates bulk back here. It's a fun little parlor trick. Amaze your friends and family. So we're getting up towards the top of the clamp.
And when we got about half of a tape's width of bare bar underneath the control lever is when I start my little figure 8. So I'm going to come around the back to begin to cover up that clamp, go up and over the control lever, and this part's critical as you come back around the back of the clamp. If you find yourself wrapping around the front of the control lever, you're doing something wrong. So now I'm going to cover up the rest of that bare bar, cover up any bare bar that I left on the last round, and then come back around the same way I did, and that transfers me up to the top of the bar. So now I'm just going to continue wrapping as normal. We have the whole clamp area covered, no bare bar showing when we pull that hood back to its normal position. And we're going to continue wrapping. So we got the same issue here. We got more real estate to cover on the outside radius of the bar, so it might naturally get a little bit tighter around here, but we want to keep that same spacing around the back using our adhesive strip as a guide. Continuing to put a lot of tension on this.
It makes it look better, it's not so lumpy bumpy, and it stays in place. There are some types of bar tape, the lizard skin, and some of the kind of synthetic leather tapes that don't stretch as readily, so just kind of be aware of that. So continue wrapping, keeping the lines nice and even, spacing-wise. And as we get towards the end of the bar, closest to the stem, we gotta think about where we're gonna end the tape. These older bars, the 26.0 clamp and bar diameter, we have this nice little shelf here, so that seems like a pretty intuitive place to end the tape. But what we want is to continue to wrap on the bias or on an angle, but to have a nice, clean cut to the tape that's gonna have it come parallel to the axis of the stem. So we're gonna come up to where we want to end the tape.
So say we want to end it right here where this ledge is. What we can do is take our scissors and think about what line would give us a line right up here against that ledge. So you see that we're kind of cutting on an angle. I just lightly scored that so I can see where I need to cut. If you need to unwrap it one line to make that cut, do so. Just make sure you still keep a little bit of tension on that. So I'm going to unwrap once. I'm going to make my cut here. And as if by magic, we have the tape nicely finished. So now we just need to get some tape to finish that off. So I got my electrical tape. And I prefer not to have much of the electrical tape extending onto the bar, just maybe about, wow, 1/16 of an inch, like a couple millimeters. And you don't want to pull this too tight because it will want to unravel, but you want to put a little bit of tension on there. And then I like to trim it such that the end of the tape is hidden on the underside of the bar. And that just makes it less likely for me to pick at the end of the tape when I'm on a long seated climb. I got nothing to do. Focus on the pain. Alright, so that's nicely finished. We're going to pull the hood back. See, we don't have any bare bar showing. And then we take our bar plug. If there's a logo, we want to make sure that that's readable from the rider's perspective. Tuck in that tape that we left overhanging. And push that into place. Now you just wrapped your bars. 50-cent piece couldn't do the wrap game any better than this. Have any questions about this or anything else? Give us a call or visit us at westernbikeworks.com.